Hello. Right, so last video, which for me wasn't very long ago, but for you guys would be quite a while ago, we were trying to make the MonoKetal. Trying to remove one of the protecting groups from our sort of diketal, and then we can use this MonoKetal in the UV step rather than taking off both protecting groups. We're taking off one just because it'll act nicer in the UV photolysis step, which is our next step after this one. I had sort of a speculative yield of about 12%, and that was a number I just pulled out of my ass. I thought the yield was this brown material around the outside. These little flecks of brown was MonoKetal, and everything else was just unreacted diketal. However, after that video finished, I put a call out on Reddit and said, does anyone have access to an NMR machine, nuclear magnetic resonance, which tells you sort of information about your compound that allows you to identify it. It's a very common technique, and I'm sure a lot of you watching will be familiar with this, and I often refer to it as rather than NMR, just sort of one syllable, as NMR. I've got a lot of comments of people who hate that, so I'm going to continue doing that. We got some NMR spectra of our compound, yes, because someone took me up on that. He doesn't really want to be named, but he's a former current chem guests. I was really worried about the tribromo because, you know, we didn't really do any purification on it, and, you know, there's nothing stopping dibromoketal or tetrabromoketal forming, or this decomposing over time, because it's been several months since I made it. It smells kind of weird, it looks kind of yellow. The spectra came up flawlessly. No overbromination, no underbromination, nothing but fucking net. Beautiful. And it continues. Recrystallized Diels-Alder product is very pure. Well, I mean, it's not like sensationally pure, but sorry, I'm getting excited, I'm getting carried away. Even though there's several isomers of this you could form in the Diels-Alder reaction, we didn't pick up any peaks of anything else in there. It's like 99% pure, this is. And you know what? It continues getting even better. Running this, we see that the bulk reaction mix has a conversion to the MonoKetal of about 87%. Just in the bulk reaction mix, which is incredible. So even though in the last video I was really sort of depressed because I thought, oh, if we can run this for 9 hours and, you know, it's only 10% converted, we're actually nearly there. The last bit of good news is the spectralized scent of the darker compound, that, you know, enriched in the darker compound, is actually got less MonoKetal in it, which sort of didn't make much sense to me, but it really sort of shows us that this dark compound isn't MonoKetal forming, it's really just tar. I don't think we're going to worry about, you know, the two different colors. We'll just run this for another couple hours. We've shown that we've done reasonable conversion efficiency with the method already. So we'll just run another couple hours, and we're not expecting it all to go this different color. Absolutely beautiful. We're hitting this hard step, which is not this video, it's going to be next video. We're hitting this hard step really running. So what we're going to do is we're going to finish off converting this to the MonoKetal, and now that we have the MonoKetal in reasonable confidence, we're going to start planning out the UV step and the UV setup. So I'll be doing this in this video. Of course, I haven't done it before. You can comment, so if you want to have suggestions on things I should change, you know, please suggest away. Here is our reaction mix, and you might remember from last time, the difficulty is that this is a biphasic reaction mix. So we've got hydrochloric acid in water, obviously, and the dichloromethane, and we need those two layers to mix, and that pushes out our reaction time. We ran this for about 9 hours of reflux. From the NMR, we know it's progressed a reasonable way, but not all the way. So I did ask for opinions on how we could speed this up. A lot of people told me to use carbon tet. I'm not going to use carbon tet. Thanks for the suggestions. There's a lot of other more obscure suggestions like phase transfer reagents, but there was one obscure suggestion which I was really a fan of. I mentioned the word ultrasonic, so I've gotten this out of some rusty corner of the shed. Yeah, you might recognize this from quite some time ago. I used it before at some point for something. Given the small reaction volume and the fact that this can actually heat a water bath, I want to try running the reaction mix in here. But first, I wanted to have another go at TLC. There was a lot of suggestions in the comments on how I could improve the TLC. For example, making this potassium permanganate stain basic. Apparently that helps a lot. And capillary tubes, where are they? Here they are. These aren't really thin enough now that I've got them. I could drag them out, you know, with the flame and make a really pointy end, but I'll have a go seeing using them as is. Required some ethyl acetate, because the usual TLC reaction mixes are ethyl acetate and hexane mixes, but now I don't have any hexane. For now, we'll use whatever the leftover dichloromethane that I have is, which is like 3 mils, you know, sweet fuck all, but we'll make do. I mean, it's sort of working. It sort of doesn't look so good, but earlier you could see those spots a little bit better, and it's good I circled them. But the top dots are starting product, there's our co-spot, so there's our two dots, and there's our mixture of our starting material, and final product is that lower dot there. So if we consult some of these old TLCs from last time, see that top dot there, our starting material, and then top dot smudged together with the bottom dot there, so we're able to start separating those two dots out if we make the dots slightly smaller, which we've done. Alright, I'm going to give up on this bath. I think it's very good for like suspending particles in a liquid, but it's not very good at mixing these two biphasic mixtures. You can see that bottom layer there. I turn it on, like it boils more. The mixtures really aren't stirring anymore. They're not really stirring together. Also, the sound is horrendous, sorry. Yeah, sorry if I had to mute that in post, but yeah, the mixture isn't really mixing together, so I'm just going to go back to the ye olde hot plate and stir it, because I got to stop overthinking it. Fast and loose, we're trying to fucking do fast and loose, so I got to stop overthinking this. Right, so it's had several more hours of reflux. It's since cooled down. A week or so has passed, maybe 2 weeks. I don't know, time eludes me. But we've got some stuff crystallizing out of the reaction mix. It's probably because I didn't use enough dichloromethane, but I believe that's our product. It looks excellent, so I'm not going to complain. I reckon I'm just going to collect that solid. We'll call that our final product. Can't believe I fucking seized these joints like a fucking amateur. Yeah, don't need to grease anything. Just fucking take the thing off the heat and seal it up. Everything will be fucking fine. Fucking amateur. Yeah, big pair of pliers and gently trying to spin it. And when I say gently, I mean excessive amounts of force. But hey, it didn't crack the vial. So just, I think, fucking, I'm lucky. Get away with it, but that could have gone badly. After drying off that acetone, we're left with exactly 1 gram of pretty pure MonoKetal. Well, I believe it's pretty pure MonoKetal. Everything else that didn't crystallize out from that reaction mix, I've kept, which will be a mix of the MonoKetal and the diketal, I reckon. And we'll just use this when we run the reaction again, because I still have some starting material, the diketal, to put in to make more MonoKetal, because we'll need more than 1 gram going forward. let's talk about the UV step and what's needed for that. So we need a source of UV for our UV reaction, and there's quite a few choices of lamps or like sources of UV to choose from. So we can have a look through the papers that we're following to see what they're using. In the 1989 paper, which is the most detailed out of all of them because they kind of list things that they tried and didn't work too well, they use quite a few of them, including sun lamps and just straight sunlight. Most of them do work, however they only sort of work well on the small scale, so they end up going to medium pressure mercury lamps for large scale. But even the sunlight did actually work to convert, gram amounts, and that's kind of what we're doing. We're working on the gram amounts, obviously. So they did note when the reaction took a long time, so like several days or even longer, like several weeks, you end up with a lot of sort of side products in there. So the faster you can do it, the more efficient you can do it. It's not only quicker, but it should be cleaner. So you're trying to do it, quite fast, quite quickly. When we go to these other two papers, the 1997 and the 2013 one, they are using once again these medium pressure mercury lamps, but they say they're trying to hit the region between 300 and 350 nanometers. And what's sort of a little strange about this setup is that they're intentionally using borosilicate glass here because it's a little unclear, but I think it's because they're using that borosilicate glass as a filter sort of for the shorter wavelengths of the lamp. So they don't want anything below 300 nanometers really get into the reaction mix. Instead of using quartz, usually there's a quartz reaction set up because quartz is transparent down to there, but when you go to borosilicate, it doesn't transmit those lower wavelengths. So if everyone's using a medium pressure mercury lamp, then I suppose I should be using a medium pressure mercury lamp, but I don't have one. They're expensive. I don't know where I'm going to get one from. I've got a slightly more nicer and more available source of UV. This here is a reptile lamp. It's not very high wattage, it's only 25 watts, which is, like nearly a 20th as powerful as the ones being used in the paper, because they're, 400, 500 watt lamps. However, a lot of the light that this produces is in the correct range, because we need UVB light for this reaction, sort of 300, 350 nanometers, and that's the light region that the reptiles need. I don't really know how reptiles work, but yeah, it's got a bit of a spectrum on the back here, but we can actually confirm that spectrum ourselves because I have a fiber coupled spectrometer here, as you do for reasons. I bought this a while ago. We can use this to measure the spectrum that's coming out of our lamp here. So I'll try not to shine it into my eyes because it does put out quite a bit of UV. Shouldn't really putting my skin in the way of it, but it won't be on for very long, so that's right. Put it on there and I'll click acquire. Yeah, so here's the spectrum here. There's quite a few lines, quite bright, sharp lines. The spectrometer is quite reasonable, so it can resolve these pretty well. Better than this box art does. We see this lump here from 300 to 350, and that's kind of our region. It's not a whole lot of light, like percentage-wise, is coming out in that region, but I'm hoping it might be enough. The advantage of using a lamp like this that's reasonably low wattage is that it won't put out a whole lot of heat. If we use something like a sun lamp, puts out a whole lot of infrared as well, put out so much heat that we'll need to actively cool the reaction, which will be hard to do because I'm not very good at engineering something like that, and we're running it in DCM, so we don't want to like boil our reaction mix constantly. This lamp is what I'm thinking to use for the UV step. So let me know in the comments if you think that's a good idea, or I should go some stupidly high-powered sun lamp. But I think using this sort of makes sense because it's in the right range but not stupidly powerful, so we might get away with it. But it might not work, so we'll have to see. Well, let me know in the comments, of course, as always. Fuck it, surely it's that. Surely it's that, yeah. Shit, alright, whatever. It's fine. It's fine, right? Tell me it's fine.